Hello, everyone. Welcome to Breathwork for your back. So, we're going to get right into it. We're going to start seated. I'm sitting on one yoga block. You could be doing this seated on the floor, in a chair. You could have support or not support. It's just important that you feel comfortable as possible in your seated shape. The one thing that we'll start off with is this idea that we want to keep the breath low in your torso. So we're often breathing in a way where we have lots of movement in our collarbones and our chest. And so what we're going to practice today is learning how to use our diaphragm so the breath stays low and is more expansive into our side waist. So when we inhale, the diaphragm pushes down, and that gives us that sense of inflation, expansion into our lower torso. When we exhale, the diaphragm pushes up, and we want to feel some of our core muscles engage. There's lots of different ways that we can kind of fine tune the inner experience of this, and one way is to do it seated, another way is to do it laying down on the front of your body. If you're in lots of acute pain right now with your back, I would encourage you to try this seated. If you're not, and you're just doing this as maintenance, as a way to keep taking care of your back, and you're out of any sort of acute, like strong acute pain, then you could experiment with doing this on your belly. And that's really my preferred way of learning how to sense and feel the diaphragm. But either way, wherever you need to be, it's great. And I welcome you and excited to be here practicing this breath work for your back. So we'll get into it. I'll start seated together, and then we'll have the option of coming down to lay on your front side. Eyes can be opened or closed. And before we get into this experience of feeling our diaphragm a little bit more, I just want you to move your head and your neck and your spine a little. So you might call this like undulation or some sort of circular movement for your shoulder blades, for your head, for your neck. It does not have to look like mine. Just some ways of kind of connecting into some sense of stretch and motion in your body, shoulder blades, head and neck. Let's bring the tongue to the roof of your mouth. Let's breathe in and out of the nose if you aren't already, and find a apparently still shape, right? So we may not look like we're moving, but we can start to tune into that experience of movement inside of the body with that noticing of our breath pattern in and out of the nose. And placing one hand on your chest and one hand on your low belly. We're going to do what we don't want first, which is breathing into the lower hand, into the middle torso, and then pulling that breath, really feeling that sense of expansion and this lift up into your collarbones. This is what we don't want, but I want you to practice it so we can feel the opposite in a moment. So we're taking a large volume of air. It's still in and out of the nose. And you may even exaggerate this expansion all the way through your torso. And then we're going to start to take in less volume of air. And we're going to see if the hand that's on the chest, on the collarbones, if this hand can stay quiet, not moving. Directing your attention to the hand that's on the low belly. Noticing if we can maintain the motion of the breath in and out of this part of you. Bringing one hand to your right lower rib. Noticing if we can breathe in a way where those lower ribs kind of push, the right lower ribs push into the right hand. And of course, we exhale and notice the opposite. If you are feeling comfortable today to come down to your front side, I'm going to have you come down to lay on your belly. If not, stay right where you're at in that seated shape. Mindfully come down onto the belly if you're going there with me. Stack your hands in a way where you can rest your forehead on your hands. You may wiggle your bum or wiggle your legs so you can feel as comfortable as possible here on your front side. All together, I want you to inflate the base of your sternum. So let's say the middle belly and then the low belly with that pressure of your inhale. As you exhale, I want you to push all the air out of your nose. The bottom of your exhale, I want you to suck in your low belly. Pull your navel towards your spine. Lift up through your pelvic floor and sense this hollowing out of your core. Let all of that tension release. Inhale. Sternum. Base of the sternum. Side waist. Low belly. Try this a few more times. When you're on the ground, you'll notice that the middle belly and the lower belly really push into the floor. And as you exhale, the action of trying to lift the low belly, middle belly away from the ground at the bottom of the exhale, once all of that air is pushed out. Core muscles, pelvic floor very much engaged as much as you can without compromising or tugging on parts of your lower back that just don't want to be tugged on. Let that way of breathing go for now. Just come back to more of a natural feeling nose breath. We're going to shift into a child's pose from the seated shape and from the laying on your belly shape. And if that position, this child's pose, does not feel great for your body, you can find another shape that does feel good. So natural nose breath. So now that we're connected to more that sensation of our diaphragm moving inside the lower torso, we're going to come back to a seated shape together and finish with 2 minutes of what is called LSD breath, light, slow, deep breathing. So find that comfortable seated shape once again. Place one hand on the low belly and one hand on the base of your sternum. Rest the tongue at the roof of your mouth. So a breath that is quiet in and out of the nose, so it's light. A breath that is low in your torso, just like you were doing. So light and deep and slow rhythm. See if you can find a pace that you can stay in for the next minute. Light, slow, deep. And it's a little bit of a challenge when we're new to this to breathe less volume of air than we're used to keep the breath deep, not moving the chest or collarbones, and to have the breath be quiet. The softest touch of the air in and out of the nose. Finding that perfect pattern. If we restrict the breath too much, it starts to maybe move a little bit more up into the chest and collarbones. We might feel a little bit agitated or anxious. So it's definitely a practice. We have to take some time and time again, daily, weekly, to find these rhythms that we can stay in that really help to kind of down regulate our nervous system, that click on our core muscles to keep the back healthy and strong from very deep. The deepest layer of core muscle from the inside out, we tend to our spine, our back, our front core and our side core and our back core, all working together to maintain a healthy back. So the encouragement to continue for another minute or so with your light, slow, deep breath. And then join me next. You can find these classes on your screen for either our yoga and movement for your back, or complete this practice with a meditation for your back. I look forward to seeing you there. Thank you so much for practicing with me.